Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 7 of our September intensive. I understand there'll be this concentrated group of A students here today. Yeah, why don't we start right in the middle of this moment of infinity? Okay, so allow yourself to be comfortable. If you want to munch and sip your drinks, that's fine during this too. But um, otherwise, I'm you to get comfortable and close your eyes. And I really want to invite you to consider right now, no matter where you prefer or expect that this meditative monologue might or is supposed to take you, you are already awareness. You are already this presence of awareness. You already, as have always, in existence. And this existence is aware. It's totally open and free. It's not even a state you attain because you were never apart from it. So no matter how lovingly and poetically you might experience when you participate in future meditations and so forth, you are always this presence during that enjoyable meditation, prior to it, afterward. This is who you are. Sometimes even the phrase returning home may come up, but that's really just a phrase of concession for explanation, because since you can't leave this home, returning to it is really a non sequitur. But for much of our lives, we weren't clear about this, so we developed a whole lot of beliefs and assumptions about who we are, which entail the world of separation and a belief in ourself as limited, bodily contained, mind driven, expiring beings. So going right to this knowing of ourselves, which we're able to do without any elaborate procedure, is the obliteration of those assumptions and beliefs right away. That it's a recognition of this freedom, limitless peace that we are. And it's a radiant knowing too. It's not a passive, dull, blobby, marshmallow like thing. It's this alive, aware, borderless space within which all your thoughts and concepts and perceptions and feelings and sensations are known. So it's knowing your experience right now. So I want to invite you from today to really drop any sense that you need the right kind of guidance to get there. That yeah, we're really making progress, and sometime in the future, oh, this is going to be even better. The degree that you can drop that kind of conceiving, that kind of perception, that point of view. Any possible clarity or confusion you might have about yourself is taking place within this that you can never not be. See if going forward we can explore this exploration from the fun of knowing more, but no longer from the idea that, oh, when I get this better, then I'll be in a higher rung of my enlightenment journey. There's no separate place to be. There's nothing lacking. We're just one shared being conversing with itself. Everything that arises for us, every idea about where we're at is just coming from this one singular law, this one singular principle, this one singular ingredient of all other seemingly separate items. Excuse me. You are always and already home. And if this is resonating at all for you, that's the indication that it's there making itself known. Even those words could be problematic, but it's the inkling from your heart rather than your mind, which can tell you a lot of stories. It's the inkling that says that life is perfect here and now. Here and now is a peace and happiness and truth that you don't have to seek any longer. And any we come up with are just to put a spotlight on that fundamental understanding. So from this place of deeply knowing that you are already home and you can never leave this home, allow yourself to gently return to our conversation.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Janice.
Through that meditation, my response was pretty much, okay, so this morning I was kind of doing this exercise of being available and open to the felt sense that Ellen Emmett suggested in one of her sessions. And it was, and not, and really testing it on myself, being available to this felt sense with, and just letting go of, and welcoming it and welcoming that, into my body. Because that's kind of an important thing to do, to tell your body that, you're welcome to, anyway, I won't go there. But she also mentioned to not have an agenda, to suspend, all my idea, and this is for everybody, all the ideas, all the judgments, all the agendas. And so I looked at that and there was like there were agendas there. I didn't really feel but I felt the agendas. I had a sense of that more than anything, but to let it arise and just to go with that. And the more that you do that, that, get into that beingness, that felt sense without, the more you do that, and it was kind of easy to do because I was, chanting about it at the same time, just kind of processing it. And you kind of let go of the knowing of the knowledge of it all, letting go of the located one, and I was feeling that, and you could just feel that, like that vibrating vibration. So today, as you were speaking, I felt there was a little I don't know what, and there was, it was a little kind of a rough patch for me, because there was a point when also she said it's like the body's like playing horsey. Okay, this is what she was saying. And that
just to be clear, is this Ellen Emmett?
yeah, Ellen Emmett. Yeah, and so I wasn't thinking about that, but I was more being in that felt sense. But you're saying be there and you're nowhere else, you're just there. But she was saying the body is like playing horsey. And it's like, the horses, they go out but they always make their way back to the stable. And she said that stillness is in the stable of your dreams. And so that openness, they always, that home, that stillness is open. The stables are open, in other words. So you can, she didn't say you could leave yourself, but you can go out and do all of these things, but then you come back. And there was no, when you're out there being the horse, you are that being as well, but it was like you always come back to that. So how would you address that? I mean, there's nothing to really talk about. I kind of like take it as she is God and what she says, is true. But, because I'm more of like a visual person.
Yeah. And I would be not even hesitant. I wouldn't even speculate on trying to meld what it was I'm sharing with what it was that she's sharing. I mean, I've taken some workshops with her, so I'm familiar with some of the stuff that she talks about. But I'm of the understanding that we're just using different verbal pathways to the same truth, and her expression of it and her use of certain metaphors and visualizations or whatever those exercises are that she's sharing for you may speak very fruitfully to how your mind is constructed. You may like those visual, as you said, you like those visual metaphors and explanations, and that's fine if following that is leading to a felt sense of the peace that's at the core of your life. Just keep following. And
well, it was it was just part of it. It just kind of helps you understand it a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm following it so much, but it is something to ponder, about that stillness, that,
sure. And
the movement and the stillness. And so
and
it's the same thing. You're, in a sense, though.
we're pointing back to the same thing that I believe Nichiren was pointing back to, and all the teachers who've said timeless things have been pointing to, and that is
Right.
The entirety of our experience is known by the truth of who we are. The truth of who we are is not limited to anything that we know. Even this body that we, some people are really skilled with exploring through the body, the stillness and the understanding.
Right.
Whatever it is that they say and whatever it is we feel in the body is still known by the presence of awareness. All the sensations of the body and all the mental considering of the exercise that somebody gives us, it's all helpful but temporary appearances within this permanent being that we are. So a wonderful teacher like Ellen is pointing back to the same thing through a whole different set of
Sure
exercises and things. But I don't think that we're ultimately talking about different things. It's just more a matter of format and style.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean that. I got the important thing was a lot of people need to give their situation more space, I think, including ourselves. But it's amazing, like, yesterday when you were doing the 1 inch and the 2 and expanding the space, was that the point of it, to expand the space around us? Or
expand your awareness beyond just the limits of your body.
Right.
Right.
But, yeah.
I wanted to start with something common that most of us see, which is the outline of our body. And so starting at that point, just like pushing past that, but
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You get the idea.
as an exercise to go from 0 to infinity in one jump is less, not even less. It seemed like a metaphoric way of getting there was to increase the perimeter around what we knew to be our awareness in ever expanding layers. All of it is just imagination, and all of it's taking place within.
Yeah.
It was just one sort of in the moment sort of thing that occurred to me.
Yeah, it was nice though. I like that exercise. That was a nice exercise to kind of like, get you out started, kind of expanding because awareness really, is not the content. Okay, you know this.
No, but please please
But
affirm it.
the content of experience is different from because awareness is not an experience.
Right.
Right. And sometimes you just have to see it black and white. Sometimes, it's like as much as you can hear it, but once you kind of get into the not knowing of it, then it does become interesting. The more and more you relax into it, kind of, there is an interest there about awareness.
That's exceedingly profound, what you just said. Awareness, you are not the content of your experience. You are the open field within which the content of your experience is forever coming and going and changing.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can see that now. It's not so distant. It used to be, when you think you're a separate, it's the important thing is to believe you're not a separate, what is it, self, right now?
It's not to believe you're not a separate self. It's to stop believing that you are a separate self.
That's what I meant. All right. Yeah. That's what I meant.
What we are doing is we're dissolving belief, because belief isn't truth. Belief is an assumption and an acceptance of something we heard, but we don't have any evidence for it being true. What this ongoing conversation is to explore through our own experience what's actually true. Oh, I exist. That's true. I know without a doubt that I exist. And this existence is aware of the entire content of my experience. Somebody doesn't have to tell me that and I go, oh yeah, I believe that. I can see, yeah, I see things and I know what I'm seeing. I hear things and I know what I'm hearing. Thoughts are coming and going, but I'm the one who knows. I'm the one who's aware of each of these thoughts coming and going. So this existence that I am, without any doubt, knows seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, tasting, feeling, thinking. So now I don't have to believe that I'm that which is aware of my content of my experience. I have evidence of that being true. What I don't have evidence of is that I'm a limited being who only exists inside a body, maybe in a finger or my uvula or my adenoids or something. I have no evidence of that being true. But prior to coming upon this understanding, I live my life as if I believed that was really true. I live my life as this separate, vulnerable, limited being who's in endless competition with a world filled with 8 billion other limited beings. And then my happiness seems to rise and fall on the things that these other limited beings do, or the way certain other aspects of my
Right,
experience.
right, because you're
unfold.
not open. That's why you're living your life like that. You're the same old person, limited person. You
Right.
know, it's
So,
the same ideas and the same way of doing things and the same beliefs and the same framework of how you operate, and you feel secure in that because you know it. And so therefore you're the same old person, and that's how it is
so,
going, and
so,
that's
so
what you know.
right. So jumping off from that, the purpose of the exercise, this session today, was to go directly to the counter evidence of that. We're going right to the fact that no matter what you believe about yourself, and those beliefs are always changing and updating and morphing to other things, you are still that infinite awareness of all of those different concepts you will have of yourself. Whether you're on a very effective meditation or body exercise, or you're watching, I don't know, Lindsey Graham talk about his limited knowledge of how women's bodies work, you're still the unlimited being of awareness. And that never changes and cannot be altered by the temporary things you're aware of. Even if strong feelings are involved in your temporary experience, it doesn't change one iota the fact that who you truly are and always have been is this unlimited presence of awareness, this unlimited Buddha nature. All the other 9 worlds, or the feelings associated with all of that,
Yeah,
are taking place within this never changing Buddha being that you are. And as the felt understanding of that kind of just sinks deeper and deeper roots in our selves, the experience of our day-to-day life becomes transformed. We talked a lot in years ago in Buddhism about changing immutable karma. So if you think about it, isn't that what this is? Like somehow the life we were living when we thought we were a separate self
yeah,
has now become a completely different life, even though the circumstances on the surface may seem the same, when viewed through the eyes of the knowing of ourselves as the Buddha nature.
I'm not sure how that immutable karma works. There's fixed and the other, what do you mean by that?
Immutable is the same thing. Immutable
Fixed.
means unchangeable, fixed.
Okay. Yeah. So even that can be changed.
Well, of course,
That's what I hear.
well, of course. What
Yeah,
I'm suggesting is this is how that has changed.
Oh.
Because
Oh, got it. Yeah, it's
yeah,
a very fine, yes.
prior to the understanding, we believe ourselves to be limited beings living solidly in a world filled with time, where this happens now and then later this happens and this happens and this happens, and that's my karmic path. To suddenly, through the eyes of the Buddha, the eyes of the presence of awareness, we realize, oh, there is no real time except conceptually. Everything is here and now. And when I know everything is here and now, that which looked like it was a product of time is no longer victimizing us. We realize that in those same circumstances, our unlimited peace. That is a change of what was previously fixed karma.
Yes. It's huge change.
Huge.
Yeah, it like opens up to a whole new, it does.
And that's what's been here behind our circumstances all the time. This is the difference between the Buddha who knows he or she's a Buddha and the common mortal who thinks that she's a separate self living as a victim of time. It's the only difference. That even the common mortal is the Buddha, just with unclarity.
And so a lot of people suffer over that.
I would suggest that all suffering is a result of that.
But that's okay, because some
Not
people,
judging it.
yeah, some people want to. Yeah, there's a whole lot to it, you know.
That could be
That's
the
on another side of the coin.
the statement. The statement. There's a whole lot to it. Can be the ongoing motto of this exploration.
There's a whole lot to it. I mean, some people have more to deal with than others, I think. More, I don't know if this is even appropriate to say. Maybe I won't bring it up. I don't think it applies. It has to do with the infinite space. You know, some people, I think, what was it? I mean, if you have something you want to say, continue on with it. I'm just kind of airing out some ideas that I heard that I thought were interesting. How Francis Lucille was, I don't quite remember it all, but it was something to do with the ocean front, and you see the seaweed and you pull up the seaweed, you know, out of the water, and you keep pulling it up, and she was speaking to someone who had a lot of darkness and wanted to get out of it, you know, wanted it to go away. We can't make things go away. You know, we have to say hi to it. Sometimes these things we don't like, we have to say hello, hi to it, and allow it to be. So she's pulling up all the seaweed, and the whole beach is full of seaweed, something like that. And it was kind of like the infinite beach. The beach, there's so much space in the universe that even if you fill it up with the whole beach with seaweed, you know, in other words, just trying to, it's okay, you know, there's a lot to deal with if you have, it's monstrous, you know, just like no into it. That was kind of a weird but interesting concept, a vision. Yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm maybe off into the seaweed now. Maybe I'm not talking about the right thing.
Well,
But,
I'm not sure I fully grasp that. I'm not familiar with that particular talk, but in what you said, that there's one thing I'd like to address a little bit. You know, if seaweed is a analogy for bad, you know, emotions that are upsetting to us, you know, sadness, depression, anger, whatever. If seaweed is a metaphor for that, most of the time, most people are trying to pull that seaweed out of that ocean so they could live in the clear water of the ocean. And so most of the methods that people have, whether it's religious philosophy or spiritual philosophy or other self-help sort of procedures, they're invented or designed or established in order to help people live with more clear water and get rid of the seaweed.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but what we're doing is something different.
We're not trying to disentangle ourselves from
No, because at best what'll happen is that will only temporarily disappear. The feelings that we're thinking are seaweed that needs to be gotten rid of are forever just changing appearances within the infinite water that we are. So we're changing our point of view from being a limited thing that's affected by the seaweed to knowing ourselves as the unlimited ocean in which everything can exist without affecting us.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's what he was pointing to, sure. The true nature of ourselves.
So the upshot of that is that we're freed from this endless burden we've been living under, where we thought we had to keep managing our feelings. We had to keep raising our life condition when we were in a lower life condition. Well, but that's always going to just be a temporary thing, because our feelings are going to keep changing. Rather than trying to manipulate temporary feelings, we're starting to see that the vessel within which the feelings are appearing is infinite and undisturbed by those feelings, and knowing ourselves as that, life becomes so much easier. The burden of life disappears, and the requirement that life out there, quote unquote, needs to be different in order for us to be okay just becomes nonsensical. It's not even a consideration. We more and more, we know ourselves as this unbreakable, established peace and joy. We suffer what there is to suffer and enjoy what there is to enjoy, the whole time knowing that who we are is managed by the temporary feelings that are coming and going.
Yeah, that's true.
So that those are just elaborate ways of trying to say what I was getting to in the beginning when saying we were already there, we are already home. And so going forward, we want to keep reminding one another that that's who we are. We're going to keep doing it enough times to where it's like, oh, it's just so freaking obvious.
It is good though. I mean, just to say I'm already there, I'm already home, I'm in the here and now. I mean, without sounding, to yourself, it's a very good.
So it feels good to say it, and couple the fact that it feels good to say it with the fact that you can't be anything other than that. It's awesome.
Yeah, right.
So Jimmy, stop disturbing us with your quietness.
I know.
It's Janice's turn.
Her inquiry is the engine on which we bolster our understanding.
Do you feel fulfilled, Janice? You didn't get to say anything yesterday, so.
Oh, yeah, I'm fulfilled. I'm satisfied. Yes, I'm at peace. No, it's okay. It's listening to the listening is good. I like to not just, I just like to sometimes I'm good with that. Just listening. That's why I get so much out of this. You can be either or.
That too is another good universal motto. You can be either or.
Well, that's how I phrase it. So Jimmy, what's on your mind today?
Okay. What's on my mind is the nature of knowing. When I say, so I have the question is I definitely have a sense of this presence of awareness, this knowingness that exists. And just is it necessary for me to understand, and listening to the earlier conversation, it seems like it is, and that's why I have the question. Because I'm not sure like Joel, you were saying, we're pointing more to what we know. And, so we don't know that we were born, and we don't know what happens when we die. But on the flip side of that, like who, we don't know that we don't die, and we don't know that. But this is what's going on in my mind. We don't know, does knowing somehow shut off? That's my question of the day is,
So, yeah, and I think you alluded to this yesterday a little bit too.
yeah,
Yeah. So does knowing shut off? So what would shut knowing off? What would flip the switch on knowing?
this,
Because I think you might be making a distinction between your personal knowing and knowing, period.
well, when we ask ourselves the question, do I exist? So, I get a sense for myself, yes, I'm, it just, I feel alive, right? And then, and then I ask myself the question, am I aware? And that also makes a lot of sense, because it really does, when I try to dissect it in any which way or feel into it, it really does feel like this aware knowing. Okay, great.
Yeah, but before you even fully accept that, just for experimentation's sake, let's decide the answer is the opposite. Let's say, do I exist? And your answer is no. So just for, let's play along here. Let's say your answer yourself is no. To whom or what is the no answer present?
Same.
The same. So you don't need a correct answer from of these binary choices, yes or no. You don't need either one of them, or not, or let me say better, neither one of them can take you to a different place other than yes.
I mean, I'm still knowing of whatever answer.
Yeah. So as far as what you know about knowing itself, could there be any more obvious evidence of something being true than no matter how you answer it, the answer is actually yes?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So that's why we can say the fact that we exist is undoubtable. We can only doubt it rhetorically, but we can't legitimately doubt it, because it begs the question, what would be doubting the fact that we exist? And that would have to be our existence. That would have to be our would have to be what would have to be whatever irreducible thing that we are, offering up the yes, I agree, or no, I don't agree. If the answer was actually no, when you say, do I exist, there would be no answer. But of course, there would be no question also. So it even the pondering of it goes beyond logic itself. It's sort of like, and we've said this before, but in the solar system, everything is lit by the sun. But the sun doesn't need an outside light to shine on it for you to see the sun. the sun is shining in and of its own self. It's its own source. It's a self-evident shining. In the same way, our knowing of ourselves is awareness or existence. It doesn't come to us by way of another concept. We know it. It's the equivalent of the sun shining. This knowledge of ourself as being existence or awareness. It's the closest thing we know to the absolutist of truth. And so everything else that we know after that is illuminated by the fact that we know that we are the presence of awareness. The recognition of ourselves as the presence of awareness is the sunlight that shines on everything else in the universe that we have experience of.
So where's the connection of, does that ever turn off?
It could only turn off if it turned on to begin with.
Or that as well. I mean, I'm just saying, is there any reason to explore this? Is there any turning on or turning off? Is there any, I don't want to go down the path and create, but it comes up a lot in my mind. It's like,
Okay.
So I don't feel like I know the answer. So I'm wondering if I'm missing something or.
Well, I think, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Whatever answer you come up with is going to be a concept. And it can only be a concept. That which is not a concept is your knowing. That which is not a concept is that which knows all concepts.
But we do talk about infinite. And it is part of the definition of when we use infinite, that there's no such thing as life or death in this awareness.
Yes, because if awareness itself was born and died, it would have to be born and it would have to die within something greater than itself. Even if you called that greaterness nothing, then there would have to be a unlimited nothingness within which awareness arose and finally died.
Well, okay, when I'm talking about the awareness that seems to be in each of us.
Yeah, I get that, and I think that this has been kind of your perspective since the beginning of our talking, and so it's really great that we're pushing up against this again. The something being in you, that the in you in which you imagine something is in, is not an actual thing. It's an illusion. It doesn't mean that there isn't a real illusion, but it's not what it appears to be. Yesterday, I think it was that, and I've been thinking about it since then. It was yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday. You said something about the body mind experiences. And I've been going over and over it, and I realized, no, that isn't true at all. Because the body mind is an experience. There is no actual entity that's a body mind. The body mind is just an illusory cluster of perceptions and sensations. But that body mind has an appearance in a lifetime, so to speak, in a death. But awareness was never located in to begin with, so it doesn't turn off with it. It's just the ever shifting formulation that seemed to be this consistent body mind disappears from awareness. Not even from, disappears within. Nothing leaves awareness because there's no border to awareness for it to go to another place. It just dissolves within the infinite principle.
I wonder why I keep going back to, I get these glimpses, like, a few days ago, we were like, oh yeah, body is within awareness, experiences within awareness. And then I just keep getting,
Yeah.
like
And so
I just
and-
said this thing again. I said, I have this idea, like we all have this spark of awareness in this body mind. However that happens, it happens, and it doesn't limit awareness. But like I see it that way, and sometimes I see it the other way also, but it seems like I always come back to seeing it this way.
yeah, and the fact that this pattern is now becoming ever clearer to you is a huge benefit for you. It's in my opinion. And the only thing that I could really suggest to you that I think will be helpful is on some sort of regular basis, keep asking yourself, oh, to what is my idea about how life is going appearing? Because whatever it is I'm thinking about the world, what is that idea appearing within? Oh yeah, me as awareness.
Right, but why does that? Because what it feels like to me is this body mind is within awareness, and awareness is, it doesn't feel like it's located in the body.
Yeah, but what's contemplating this right now?
Well, this awareness, this consciousness awareness.
So tell me about that rather than the body mind.
Well, yeah, all those things I have always, open, empty, of like unlimited, infinite expanse.
But are you saying those because those are the quote unquote right
No,
answer, or you feel that?
No, that's what it feels like. That's what
Okay.
the awareness feels like. It does not feel like it's limited at all.
So why would you want to?
But see, it's not limited to me. The fact that it's has hooked up in a sense, like, because that's the way it works with this body mind, it doesn't limit the awareness at all. That's what it feels like. There's just a body mind kind of happening all like within it, and that's what's happening.
Okay, And is that disturbing or is that peaceful?
It's a wide variety of experiences.
Is it a wide variety of experiences, or is it a space in which a wide variety of experiences are happening?
It's a space that a wide variety of experiences are happening.
So tell me about this space.
The space is of, it's a wide open space, a space that is unbelievably unconditional and is open and is,
Is that your felt experience of it?
yeah.
Okay. So and then every one of these wide variety of experiences you're saying that happen, by definition, are temporary. By definition, they're impermanent.
The experiences or the
The wide variety of experiences are impermanent, that are happening within this space.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So keep going back to this space. Keep intentionally going back to that as an exercise.
I do all the time.
Okay, great.
It's just, yeah, I still ask myself the question. Is there any relationship of turning on and off?
Okay, so cool.
Even
So
though
cool.
I know that space.
So keep asking the question or any other question that interests you. But your exercise is become more interested in the source of the question than in any possible answer.
It's like, okay, and what space is that happening in? Okay, and what space is that happening in? Okay, but I still have the question of, does that space ever turn off?
Right. And every time you go back to the space, you say, okay, because it's always okay.
Yeah, it's just a curiosity. Does it ever turn off? And
Oh, yeah. So if you're asking out of curiosity, wonderful. If you're asking because it's torturing you, then really go back to the space.
it's not torturing me.
Yeah.
It's just out of curiosity, and I don't have the answer.
Well, I think the closest thing we could get to the answer would be something that's impossible. Somebody would have to be permanently dead, and then also, while being permanently dead, come back and tell us what that's like.
Yeah. So, okay. So there is, it seems like there is no answer.
Yeah. So everything we think, whether we think we're born and die, or whether we think life is eternal, it's all just assumption and belief.
Just gonna say I don't know to myself anymore from now on, because I mean, I agree with you. Any question is within, the presence of awareness is present always, 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 always. And prove, and I prove it every single time. I'll go there and ask the question, but I still don't know the answer to that question. So it's like, it's ridiculous.
Right. So I'm in agreement, and most people would be in agreement with you that the question can be answered. So the real question is, can we be completely at peace with not knowing? That's really the spiritual question, and probably one of the greatest implications of knowing that we're awareness, that we get to live peacefully with not knowing the truth of birth and death. Although I know it's the death of our time period together, so I want to be respectful of that. for today, but this is like an awesome um, jumping off point for continually infinite conversation.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. Nice to see you, Janice and Joe.
Great, good to see you.
See you tomorrow, same time, same station, hopefully.
Bye-bye.
now.